I need a coil on here to make that distributor fire like that one. I think I got one up in there somewhere that was originally on the hot rod. I got to be careful to use a 12-volt coil. I can see one sitting back there on the shelf right next to that generator, but I know that's a 6-volt. That's the one that came off. That's the generator and coil that came off this motor when I converted it over to a 12-volt. So I know I can't use that one. I could use that bracket. So if I can find me another coil, 12-volt, I'll throw it on here. That'll give me fire, and then I'll throw my dual port manifold on here, and I've got a Holley carburetor up there that fits that dual port supposedly. I can probably get enough gas going through it to get this thing to run a little, I'm hoping. So it's kind of what I'm going to mess with next. Alright, I found my coil sitting over there on the shelf. It doesn't say 12-volt, but I'm sure it is. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm trying to think. I had a 6-volt coil on that Cadillac, but I'm pretty sure this ain't it. So I'm going to throw that on there. I'll know for sure once I hook it up, see if we got any fire. And basically all you do, there's a plus and a minus on here. The plus side goes to the battery. You run a hot wire to the battery straight to that. The minus side goes to this wire right here. Goes inside the distributor. And with that on there, if I hook a plug, if I stick a screwdriver in one of these and turn it over to shock me, if I attach a spark plug to it and ground the spark plug out, I'll see fire. So that's how I test it to make sure I got fire. Once I got fire, I'll throw a carburetor on there and hook the plugs up, crank it, and go from there. Okay, I could not get it to fire with either coil. I tried this coil and I pulled the coil out of my other motor over here and I couldn't get it to fire. Someone had told me that you had to change the distributor on these. And I don't know if that's true or not. I don't see anything different looking about that. It's got points in it and everything, unless there's something different about the condenser. I've got another distributor over here, but it's pretty old and kind of ratted out looking inside, but it does have a condenser on it, so I can test it. But I threw the distributor out of Cinderella in here and the coil out of Cinderella, and oh yeah, she got a lot of fire. She about knocked my fingers loose. What I can try doing later is changing the coil off this one, putting it on this one, or you know, just freshening this one up, cleaning it up, and putting new points in it and everything, and trying it. But main thing I want to do is just get this one to run, basically. So I know I got fire. In fact, I'll hook a spark plug up and let you watch it spark. Okay, I'm going to put you here where you can watch the plug while I hit the starter on it. You should be able to see that fire if my camera will focus that close. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I can see it. Maybe you could. But there's sparks jumping in the spark plug here. So now that we have that, once we get carburation, this thing should crank. Carburation basically meaning putting manifolds in the carburetor on here and get some gas down into the cylinders. I'll put the plugs all back in. Well, this is one of those situations where I think it's fairly unlikely to crank. I've got a manifold on here. This is a 2-barrel carburetor that somebody gave me, and it's probably way too much carburetor. On top of that, I don't have a gasket to go under it, so I'll put a little bit of gasket seal in there. And I got some bolts on this end out of an old Honda 3-wheeler, and I got some bolts on the back out of an old Cadillac torque converter, and oh, I don't know, it's just kind of a mishmash of parts. But I don't have any gas hooked to the carburetor, but I'm going to pour a little bit in and just turn it over and see if it fires and kind of play with it from there. Well, I did hit it hit a lick just before I stopped, so I'll put a little bit more gas in there. We'll try a bit more. Yank my wire off here. Oops. Put that back on. Basically what I got is a hot wire. It runs to the plus side of the coil. And I got another hot wire that runs to the starter. Kind of a monkey rig deal, but if it works, it works. That's all I care about. Hear that? Almost cranked there at the end. Battery charger back on. Give you a little extra voltage. Heard it kick. That's a good sign. I'm not altogether sure about my timing either, so I'm just messing around with it here. No, it don't hurt just to mess around. I don't know if you was noticing this light. I had it on the minus side of the coil, and you can see when the point's open and closed, the light flashes. That's a good sign right there. I don't know if it does any good to open the carburetor any because there's no gas. Let a little more air in maybe. Too close. Pretty close. Oh yeah. Chug a lug.